with us next, Mary Ellen Kearney. She is the Corporate Relations Director for the Karmanos Cancer Institute. You guys do such important work here in our community. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. We're always excited. Any chance I have to talk about Karmanos, I am excited about that. So.
I will say my stepfather had cancer several years ago, and sadly he passed away, but Karmanos was such an important part of his treatment. And so it really is a blessing to have such an organization here in our community. For those that don't know the background, though, how did you even get started?
So Karmanos has been around since, the 50s here in Detroit. And we are one of the only two NCI, which is the National Cancer Institute, designated comprehensive cancer centers here in the state of Michigan. And we have been working tirelessly within the community to bring new treatments and the best patient care to the community and really hope for the best outcomes for those patients. So.
Yeah, you really are on the front lines of the research and experimental treatments when it comes to cancer. And sadly, so many people have known someone in their lives that have been touched by cancer. Mm-hmm. But what's it been like during the pandemic, especially now, because so many people are afraid to go into a hospital or into a treatment facility?
Yeah, so one of the things that we keep telling people is COVID stopped so many things, but it certainly did not stop cancer. So we have to continue to encourage people to come in and feel comfortable. So we have what we call safe care, and that is following all of the standards that are set for guidelines to be safe and healthy for patients to come into our facilities. However, we feel that we have a step up because we've always worked with immunocompromised individuals. So we've always been very aware of disinfecting and kind of social distancing and how to really make people feel comfortable. But we have so many guidelines in place, whether it's visitor restrictions or how we're cleaning, the use of masks, screenings prior to coming in. So we encourage people. Yes, it's a scary time. There are a lot of unknowns when you're coming into a facility. Cancer itself is so scary when you add all of that together, but we're still here for our community and we're still here to give everyone the best possible care that we can.
And we all know that the longer people put off being diagnosed, the worse chances they have for survival. But yet we're in the middle of a pandemic where so many people aren't getting their yearly screenings or any screenings. We're told to get a mammogram, colon cancer, go get a colonoscopy, but so many people right now are afraid to do that. Are you worried that we're going to have an explosion of people that by the time they're diagnosed, their disease is going to be so much further down the line, which will make it harder to treat?
So I will say we have definitely seen, I think nationwide, we've seen a drop in cancer diagnoses, and that is because less people are coming in for their screenings. And yes, as you mentioned, the earlier you catch something, the better the outcome is. My hope is that things like this show will encourage people to get in for their screenings that they may have missed, and so that we don't see that kind of backlog of people and more people coming in too late in their stage of cancer, where their treatment options will be limited.
So as a leading institution, how are you trying to address that gap right now?
We're really out on the front lines, just encouraging people, telling people, you can come in for your screenings. We're going to take care of you. If you can't come into our main campus, we have campuses all over the state of Michigan. Our Lawrence and Adele Weisberg Treatment Center in Farmington Hills. Any place that there's a McLaren hospital, we have a Karmanos location as well. So get in. We just can't say that enough. And so again, that's why we're so thankful for opportunities like this, because we can remind people early detection is what saves lives.
So with that, I know that clinical trials are a big part of what the Karmanos Cancer Institute is a part of. Have you seen a drop in participants during the pandemic?
I don't know the actual numbers on things, but I will say that our clinical trials program is one of the best in the country. And throughout COVID, we have continued to provide those services for our patients. So oftentimes when someone goes on a trial, they are able to be on that trial or that treatment for as long as it continues to be effective for them. That has not stopped because of the pandemic. So we are still involved with clinical trials, still recruiting for clinical trials, and still seeing success with the people who are there.
Mary Ellen Kearney with us here on the MegaCast. And so we know that a big part too of the Cancer Institution is about fundraising. And it's like you said, you're a staple here in our community. We all know about your organization, but fundraising is really tough right now. How's COVID-19 impacted the fundraising efforts there at the institution?
So, just like we've heard about with small businesses, we are being impacted. People are keeping a close eye on how they spend their money right now. And unfortunately, I think supporting nonprofits is often one of the first things to go when people are having difficult times with their money. So unfortunately, our numbers are down. However, our team is geared up for this new year, and we're excited to say, okay, 2020. We're not saying 2020 anymore. We're going to say it's 2021, and let's move forward. And so that we are continuing to focus on new and innovative ways. And I think we saw a lot of that, especially towards the end of last year, with people getting really creative with their fundraising. And that's what we plan to continue to do.
Yeah, but we were talking with Humble Design. It's like you could put so much time and effort into some of these fundraising events, and then restrictions change or something happens like a day or a week before. So is it like a flowchart now? Because
Yeah,
we've been so used to, after nearly a year of this, having to change on the dime.
absolutely. We actually just had a committee meeting yesterday for our largest fundraiser that's supposed to happen in September. And we're at this point where we can't sign a contract with our venue, but we know what our venue is. And so just trying to determine, okay, do we still plan to move forward with what the original event looked like? Are we going to change it? When are we going to change it? How many more times will we need to change it? So yes, there are, rather than the usual straightforward approach to doing the event, there are about 6 or 7 plans, and each one of those plans then has its own set of sub plans. So it's very, very involved right now.
Well, and on top, I would think it's also costly, because if you're trying to sign a contract with an event, but then you can't use the venue, there are going to be clauses within those events. And now that we've had time to go through this, some of these facilities have gotten a little bit smarter about this too, where they're saying, wait, we're holding this, we can't continue to lose money as well. So it's so challenging, and the challenges aren't going away in 2021. It's going to be with us yet a while longer. But does it help to have an organization such as yours that is so established, to have that name behind you when you're, at least you're going to for the corporate sponsors?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone knows who Karmanos is, and we're very proud of that. People know the work that we're doing, and we do have so many strong relationships with companies. And as you mentioned, venues with their contracts. We're lucky that we have these relationships, so we can have actual discussions with people and remind them of why we may be not signing a contract, or why we still need their support, and how their support maybe will look different this year or last year, but how important it still is for our community and for the survival of Karmanos and our patients ultimately.
Yeah, and we need you to survive, because you're such an important part of our community. But how does it change? Like, if I'm just a regular person sitting at home, is there a way for individuals to support what you're doing?
Always, always, always. So we are always open to donations, and I tell people whether it's $5 or 500,000, your money will be put to good use for patient care and new treatments. So there's always the opportunity to make a donation. which of course can be done at the karmanos.org website. But there are other ways to be involved as well. Right now, we're unfortunately not doing a lot with volunteers in-house because of COVID restrictions, but we do always have opportunities for volunteers and for people to get their companies involved, whether it's a jeans day or a bake sale, those kinds of things. We always encourage people, whatever way they want to get involved, they can get involved. And one of the things we were just talking about as a team was the fact that sharing your story is so important. So for those people who have been seen at Karmanos, sharing that journey with other people, it encourages them to seek the treatment that they need at the top hospitals. And it also sometimes gives people a chance to see someone that they connect with and can say, oh, this person is sharing their story. I see myself in them. I can also share my story. And the more we talk about it, the better outcomes we have for our patients because more people are coming in.
And so with that, how important has social media been to your organization during this time?
Yeah, it's huge. Social media is the wave of the future, I guess. As far
And it's free too.
it
I mean, that's the thing with some of these companies that don't have it. I'm like, but it's free. You just have to know how to utilize it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're always talking about the great things that are happening at Karmanos, whether it's clinical trials or featuring a story about a patient or a doctor or a new treatment, plus giving opportunities for fundraising. And we encourage, again, other people, if they want to use their social media to fundraise as well. So it goes kind of back to that planning where we have our one approach with many, many branches. And social media is so great for that. And it's the way people are connecting now. And I have a feeling for quite a while now they'll be doing it as well.
Oh my gosh, goodness. And there's a lot of good with social media. So we like to focus on the good, not necessarily some of the other stuff that's going on with it as well. But with that, Mary Ellen, and I don't really know, because I know you're with corporate relations, so I don't know if you can really even answer this question, but we are hearing obviously everything in 2021 is about the vaccine. For your patients, are they able to get the vaccine through Karmanos and through their doctors? Or not at this time?
So we are in the process of providing the vaccine for current patients. We, like everyone else, are sort of waiting, and as we get them, that's how we release them. But yes, we are thankfully at the point where we have the ability to offer it to some of our patients who are in current treatment.
So before we let you go, can we talk a little bit more about the cancer screening? Where can people get them? Should they go to the regular doctor? Can they come to Karmanos? What's the best way for them to do it?
So, I mean, screenings in general, we encourage people to see their doctor annually. They may be able to recommend specific screenings that you need based on your demographic. And if you have an issue that you bring up with your doctor, which we again encourage people to be open and honest with your doctor. They cannot help you if they don't know what's going on. So yeah, seeing your doctor is the first step, and then they can help you with your screenings. I will say we do screenings at Karmanos. Mammograms in particular stand out to me because you do not have to have an active cancer diagnosis to be seen for your mammogram at Karmanos. It's where I went for my baseline because I believe having the experts reading my results makes the most sense. So coming into Karmanos and setting up your appointment there is wonderful. We offer other screenings as well, but yes, always start with your primary care doctor, and then when they need to make a referral, ask for a referral to Karmanos.
Absolutely. Hey, before I let you go, I have to say, so we had the tragic death recently of Jamie Samuelson, well-known sports individual here in the Metro Detroit area. When he passed away, prior to his death, he came out and he went public with his colon cancer, and he was so young, in his 40s. When someone with a high profile comes out and they talk about their cancer, does that help your organization in some way, just from the standpoint of trying to educate the public?
Absolutely, tremendously. Again, people don't want to talk about those things. Hearing the word colonoscopy makes people uncomfortable. Mammogram that makes people uncomfortable. All of these things are things that people don't want to talk about, which is often the reason that people don't come in for screenings or talk to their doctor when something feels off or wrong. So when somebody, yes, who is in the spotlight shares their journey and makes it a normal part of conversations in society, that helps because then other people feel comfortable as well. And again, maybe recognize some things in themselves that they're able to then take those steps and come in for screenings.
Mary Ellen Kearney with us here on the MegaCast. She's the Corporate Relations Director for the Karmanos Cancer Institute. Anything I didn't maybe ask you that you want to share with us before we say goodbye today?
No, just a reminder to get screened. And if you have the ability to get involved, please get involved.
Absolutely. It's great having you with us here on the show. And we want to say happy weekend and happy Valentine's Day as well.
Thank you. You too.